Hi, this is Norman Kochnick for Extra Time here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Again, the Allen Davidson Gates, and you can see the statue of Steve Waugh in the distance. Very significant ground for both the likes of Steve Waugh and for the Australian side, with a number of New South Wales representatives in the team. But let's turn to the Indian side. The Indian side was announced today. It's 11, with the inclusion of Rohit Sharma as vice captain and also opening batsman. We also have the inclusion of Navdeep Saini as the bowler to replace Umesh Yadav. So they're the two significant changes to the Indian lineup. Maryank Agarwal has been replaced by Rohit Sharma. Certainly not a distraction from Agarwal's performances, but Rohit Sharma is a standout and he deserves to be in the side and is vice captain as well. So the 11 is the openers, of course, of Sharma and Gill with Pujara at first drop. We've got Rahane as captain at second drop, then Vihari in after that, followed by then the likes of Pant, Jadeja, Ashwin, and then the bowlers of Bumrah, and obviously we'll have the likes of Siraj, and the inclusion of Navdeep Saini, of course, as well in the 11, and that's the significant update in terms of players. So that is the 11 players that are available there. Again, we have a significantly good Indian side, particularly strong, I think. Navdeep Saini has actually come into the team ahead of Shardul Thakur and also Natarajan, and I think that's in particular because the wicket is apparently a brown tinge, certainly going to favour a bowler's, especially more of a faster bowler. It will certainly take a lot of grip and turn, as in spin, towards the end of probably the fourth innings of the test match in particular, which will suit Ashwin and Jadeja, and somewhat obviously Nathan Lyon as well. So the Indian side, Saini is a good selection, considering the conditions of the ground, the pitch being rather a brown tinge. Now, it was very interesting today. Today was a day of optional training for both the Indian team and the Australian team. Far from optional. In fact, I'd be surprised if any player would not seek the opportunity to get out of the hotel, get out of quarantine, be on the field, be both practicing both batting and fielding and bowling. Obviously, optional was not the right word. In fact, it was almost mandatory in the players' minds to get out of their quarantine. Ajinkya Rahane in his media conference today did have to skirt the issue somewhat and did talk about the fact that they weren't annoyed, but they were certainly challenged in a challenging situation with the amount of lockdown they've certainly had. The quarantine has been going on for some time now, and the bubble effect has certainly taken its toll on all players. But mentally, India is strong, certainly not annoyed. Somewhat jaded, perhaps, would be the right word which was used. Jaded, certainly, but not annoyed. Somewhat needing to get out of the hotel. Opportunity here today with the training. It was a magnificent day for that very reason. They were able to train and train well. In fact, Rohit Sharma again batted particularly well. Of interest, though, was around the hotel they're staying in. Now, they normally stay at the Hotel Intercontinental in Macquarie Street in the city. Now, I've provided you with video evidence of that hotel, how magnificent it is. The layout is fantastic, has a lot of room down below, up above in the top roof area. The rooms are quite spacious. There's a lot of large vistas of views, as opposed to the Intercontinental at Double Bay, which is still a lovely hotel by all stretch of imagination. It's a fantastic hotel, but it doesn't suit, the layout doesn't suit quarantine. The rooms are rather together. The balconies are almost either non-existent or very small. There's no area to really roam around or get any spaces, no common areas. The actual reception area is quite small. The area itself is rather compact. Very nice place to stay, but certainly not appropriate for a quarantine for a cricket team who have been locked up for this amount of time. It does have a roof pool and somewhat of an area there, but it's big enough. It's not an area they could run on. Certainly isn't conclusive. I saw the Australian assistants bringing in equipment there yesterday regarding gym work, so not necessarily suited to the players. They're not annoyed, but it would have jaded them, and they are jaded from the actual tour. But Ajinkya Rahane told the media conference how good the team are ready for this, taken full options of the 2 days of training. The weather here at the moment certainly is overcast. It's been spitting with rain, but quite frankly, the weather's been particularly strong and good. I'd say there'll be intermittent rain certainly during the match, but I think you'll get a full game, a full set of days play. This is the eve of the match, of course, the night before the magical third test, significant in this series by a long way. 1-1, the decider could well be right here with Brisbane to follow. A significant match indeed. India are ready. They've trained their house down. They're jaded with the whole lockdown, as are both teams, but I think there's no problem at all. Just quickly on the Australian side, Dave Warner appeared to be quite okay with his running. his batting, but he'll be tested in the test match. That's when we'll see the real effect of his injury. And as has been said on other programs, Australia's selecting a player that's not 100% fit. Very rare that Australia does that. We would normally always have a 100% player. So there's an element of desperation perhaps about Australian team. Batting with Warner, Pucovski's likely to open. Both batters probably aren't quite physically there. They've cleared Pucovski of his concussion. Warner seems to be at 70% to 80% perhaps from his groin injury. The Australian team will probably see Matthew Wade drop down the order with Pucovski and Warner as openers, and have Travis Head no longer in the team, as is Joe Burns. Australian bowling will be as per program. That won't change otherwise. So the sides are ready. India's announced, Australia hasn't. This is Norman Kochnick from Extra Time, signing off from the Sydney Cricket Ground, the Allen Davidson Gates. Please view, like and share posts, and don't forget to subscribe and follow and make comments. This is Norman Kochnick for Extra Time.